It's Matt from Damond Motorsports here, and today we're trying something a little different. We're doing a little long form, kind of like story content, and yeah, just kind of going over a little bit of the business, a little bit of the cars, what we're working on, and kind of what's to come this year from Damond Motorsports. So yeah, be sure to check it out and watch the video. Hey guys, Matt from Damond Motorsports here. I'm gonna look at all the cameras and not Farhan. Started Damond when I was, I think, 19, and it was, what's that?
When was that? Your baby. When was that? When were you 19?
Date yourself.
Oh God.
The math isn't that hard.
Yeah, I don't know how old I am. Started Damond when I was 19, so it was around 2008, 2009. That sounds about right. Yeah, I got my first Speed 6 when I was around that age, actually at that age. And what started Damond was I had basically put an oil catch can on my own car, and I reached out on the forums that we were on, and I asked, like, hey, would people be interested? And almost overnight there was like 50 people who wanted a kit, and yeah, just kind of went from there.
So what made you put the catch can on your car?
I'd done some research into the platform, done some research on oil catch cans and the benefits of them, and it was something I had wanted to try. I had wanted to try it on a previous platform that I owned, but never got a chance to, and on the Speed 6, it seemed like a good way to learn the platform more. So it's kind of where I did that and why I put it on the car.
So what was that previous platform you were looking at doing it on?
Porsches. So I had some 80s Porsche 944s. First one was a rebuilt title car, and then the second one was a turbo, which was a piece of shit. So it was a bad example of one. Shouldn't have bought it. I learned a lot from owning that car, and it's one of the few cars I regret owning. I think it's the only car I actually regret owning.
Were the Porsches your first cars, or what was your first car before them?
Yeah, first car was a Porsche 944, red, like in 16 candles. That one, well, it was originally burgundy, and it was poorly painted red, so all the paint was cracking on the hood. Like, it wasn't a great example of a car, but mechanically it was sound. It had it was the last year they made it, so it had a 2.7 liter straight four that made like around 150 horsepower, 5-speed manual, just a fun little car.
And then you went from that to the turbo?
Then I went from that, bought a turbo, regretted that decision because it broke down on the way home. So never buy a car sight unseen on eBay. It's a bad time, especially if it's an old Porsche. Don't do that.
And you went from that to another turbo car.
So I went from that after swearing I wasn't going to get a turbo car ever again. I was like, I want to get an S2000. That was the kind of car I was leaning towards. But I had a job at the time where I was a valet driver, and I had driven a Speed 6, and I liked the car so much I ended up buying one 3 days later. I met Farhan, I think around the time I was probably 19, 20 years old. He came by for, I used to host install meets. We used to do install meets, and I hosted them at my parents' house where I was living at the time. It was mainly me and a couple other guys who would host these meets, and it was to bring in people from the community who wanted to wrench on their own cars and learn how to wrench on their cars, but kind of needed some knowledge or assistance to do so. I was going to school at the time for automotive stuff. So I had a fairly mechanical background. I had wrenched on my own cars ever since I was 15. So I had a rough idea. I knew what I was doing. I was going to school at the time for it, so that was helpful. And yeah, a lot of it was still learning as you go and helping other people out. So we'd host these meets, install parts. I met Farhan at one. He came out to the meet, and he was talking about installing a differential mount on his Speed 6, and I had done one previously on my car, and it's not a fun job to do, especially if you're new to the car. and we were talking about it, and I was like, yeah, let's hold off on, let's maybe not do this at an install meet because we're going to waste all day doing that. You know, let's stick to some easier stuff. I just had him come by on his own, and, you know, we ordered a pizza, knocked it out in an evening. So that's kind of how we met and our friendships started. So right now I've got my two main cars, my Fiesta right here, which it's my daily driver in the summertime. I try to do some winter events with it. So doing winter autocross with it at Road America, that's such a fun thing to do. I do some rallycross in it now. Autocross, I might do a track night this year in it. It depends if the other car, the Focus, is up and running and all good. But yeah, I do kind of a lot of fun stuff in the Fiesta, just a fun little platform. And then I've got a Focus ST, which is a full track build time attack car that I do track days and stuff with. Probably won't do too much time attack anymore. I want to get back into doing more track days, testing parts for the car. Time attack is fun. It's great. It's amazing to compete, but at the same time, it costs a lot of money. You don't get much seat time. So in that sense, it's a bummer. A lot of the events too that I'd like to run time attack with, the tickets sell out almost immediately. So it's hard to constantly campaign it with time attack, especially too with the class that it's in. It's way under competitive. But it's a whole lot of fun on a track. So doing more track days with it is kind of what I'm aiming to do with that car. We just got a new Toyota GR Corolla here that we're going to start doing some development on. Really excited about that. Once we get some parts on the car that we believe the platform needs that can help benefit the car, we'll also be testing those products, kind of how we go by our slogan, which is track tested, driver trusted. So we'll get the car, maybe do a little track day with it, some autocross stuff. Just kind of learn the car, learn the platform, see what it needs, see what it can benefit from, and yeah, just kind of go from there. So, you know, we'll throw our whole staple of Damond goodies at it, what we're good at on the car, and yeah, just keep throwing stuff at it. So another project car that we're working on is our Project ST, which you guys have already seen some videos of. But with that car, we kind of got that with the objective to, one, we want to go fast. So with that car, I think our main focus is going to be drag racing. It's something not many people do on this platform, and the records currently aren't that crazy. So we think we can go out there, set some records, beat some records. So that with the car, also, you know, just shoot some content with it, show you guys what we've learned on the platform, and you know, what we can show you, what we've learned, and, you know, do some install videos, spread more information we can about the car and what it needs, what can benefit it, all that stuff. So.
Was that your first car you bought at auction?
No, I bought my.
Is that what sight unseen, right?
Yeah, I bought my Porsche at auction. That was a bad idea. Never buy cars at auction. Sight unseen. Well, we saw the Focus.
So why did you pick that Focus, and what was it like when you first got it?
We didn't see the Focus before we won the auction. We saw it after we won the auction.
We did?
I think so.
No, I thought we saw it before we initially bid on the auction, but we didn't reach the what they had set for the bid. So the auction renewed or whatever, but then we bought it for like the buyout amount or whatever. But in between that time, we had gone and seen the car.
What was it like?
It was a piece of shit. I mean, it looked salvageable, so to speak, to where it's like, okay, we can do something with this. But yeah, the car wasn't great. You know, it's got, body-wise, it isn't great. It's got some rust starting on the quarters and whatnot. But for a race car, who cares? You know, we'll make it go fast. That's what matters. I'll talk about when I got my ST. That car came about as we make Mazda Speed parts. A good platform to transition to would be the Focus, because it's basically a Gen 3 Mazda Speed 3 underneath. A lot of the underpinnings are the same. A lot of engine stuff is very similar. So yeah, taking what we learned on the Mazda Speed platform and adapting it to that. So at the time, I didn't have a fun car. I just got rid of a Speed 6 that I built. I had a Mazda 5 that I was thinking about doing a speed swap in. That never happened. And I just didn't have any fun cars, and I didn't have a car payment. So I was like, I'll buy one. thinking, I'll get it just to do some development stuff on and whatnot. So the one that met all my requirements as far as budget and what I wanted out of the car was in Arizona. So I bought a less than $50 one-way ticket via Spirit or Frontier Airlines to go out and get that car, and then drove it all the way back. So that's how I got that car. And it initially started as, let's do a track day in it. Let's see what the car needs. Let's see what it can benefit from. And as soon as I did that, saw a lot of the shortcomings, started modifying it to make it more track capable. And then that just kind of, tumbled downhill into where, boom, now it's full on track build. So yeah, it wasn't something I was planning on doing with the car, but it's what it turned into. And yeah, it's a fun car to throw around a track, and it surprises everyone. A lot of people come up to me like, oh, is that an RS? Does that have all-wheel drive? No, it's front-wheel drive. And I'm out there keeping up with Z06s and GT3s and whatnot. So yeah, it's a really fun car. And then the Fiesta came about very similarly. We wanted another car to develop parts for, and it was already something we had a couple parts for at the time. We had a catch can kit already out for it. We wanted to just throw more stuff at it. And I always really, the only condition I was going to buy one of these would be if it was green envy. I had to have that color. I thought about maybe getting a newer white one, then I could just wrap it, but I don't want to have to deal with that myself. And, paying more money to get the car wrapped wasn't something I really wanted to do. So lucked out on that. It was one of 7 in the whole United States for sale at the time, because it was already, the green color came and gone. It was only for the first 2 model years. And when I bought it, it was like a few years after that. So I had to find a used one. And yeah, so it was one of 7 for sale in all the US. I really wanted Recaros, and I really wanted a sunroof. The sunroof was so I wouldn't turn it into a full race car. Just kind of something to motivate me from doing that. And oh yeah, and I bought the car, it's green. I bought it in April of 2020. So for the longest time, and I also bought it from a Toyota dealership called Green Toyota. And it had a license plate frame that said green on it. It was a green car, and then my sticker said 420 on it. So I thought that was really funny. But yeah, it was a fun car. I bought it from a Toyota dealership. They said it came with a lifetime powertrain warranty because it was a Toyota dealership, and I was like, it's a Ford, right? But yeah, they still said it's like, yeah, that lifetime powertrain warranty stands. So I was like, all right, I'll be back someday to test that. But yeah, it's been a fun car to use, do a lot of fun stuff with it. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, the reason I bought the car too, I couldn't afford a car payment at the time, but I did the math on how much money I was spending on cigarettes a month, and it turned out it's like, well, I can afford this car, I can afford insurance, and I can afford gas for it. So I decided to, that was going to be the way I would quit smoking. So I went, bought the car, and not the very next day, because I had a part-time job at the time, and I was like, I need a cigarette to get through that day. But instead, it was the day after that. I quit smoking. So yeah, it was kind of a treat to that. And yeah, I've been smoke-free since. So it's been if you want to quit smoking, the best way to do it is Ford Fiesta ST. So that's what I always tell everybody.
That's a good one.
Oh man, that's a hard one.
She doesn't have any friends.
So yeah, one thing I could tell my younger self, 10 years ago would be, dedicate time to your hobby, try and travel with what you can, make friends, don't just sit at home, be a hermit, get out there, have a good time, meet people, try and stay in shape. It's about all I can think of. Yeah.
Can